All right, pretty easy one, right? Now, come on up. Now we're gonna do S-turn sit-ups. All right, so everybody turn your legs like this, or like this little S pattern. If you would do this with hands up, awesome. If you need to put a hand down to do it, absolutely fine. But you're gonna go from here to switch your legs on the other side, and then you're gonna push up. You're gonna find a lot about ground jiu-jitsu involves your hips. Your hips have to be engaged. If not, you're gonna create space and let the other person get out. For the next like 30 seconds, just take your legs from here, swap the other side, hip up, sit back, swap and hip. If you need to put your hand on the ground to do it, that's totally fine, okay? Do what you can. My wife is sitting beside me here. She's almost 8 months pregnant and she's doing it, so no one's got an excuse. And what you'll find, doing it with your hands up is certainly a bit more challenging. But that's how you get better, right? You do things that are hard. You do things that are challenging, and that's how you get better. I love it when I do something and the first time I fail at it. I think, wow, all right, this is gonna make me learn. How many musicians do we have out there? A couple of people raising their hand. Say like you pick up a guitar, you got an idea for a riff. Do you play it perfectly the first time? No. You gotta keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Same thing with moves in martial arts. All right, mate. So that first one we did was leg circles. The next one is an S-turn hip up, okay? Next we're gonna do, this is probably one of my more favorite ones. Think about, you've got somebody in your guard, you're gonna pull them back, you're gonna rock up to your shin. Again, push your hips forward. And then we're gonna do a shoot coming forward. So what a shoot looks like, and this is why I wear knee pads, this front knee comes down and I step forward. Okay, so watch that again. Rock back, come up to your shin, knee steps down and come forward. I'm coming in for that shoot to grab some legs, okay? So let's take a minute and work that. Pull, shin up, shoot forward. And if you've got long space, obviously you can just keep going down the mat with it. Here's another thing, work in the space that you got, you know? Again, don't make excuses. If you can do like 2 of these and scoot back, great. If you can do 10 of them, scoot back, great. Just keep moving. You feeling pretty good with it? See if you can work left side, right side. And remember, this is just the warm-up, so don't get too crazy. We got a long day ahead of us. All right, mate. And we're just kind of shooting through these warm-ups a little bit. So let's review. We have knee circles. We have S-turn, hip up. We have shin, hip up to shoot forward. Oh, this is a fun one. So, how many of you guys love planks? Aren't you glad I didn't say burpees? So what we're going to do, we're going to start in a burpee. And this particular move we're going to use a little bit later with a training dummy. You're going to come up with a plank. You're going to take your back leg over and you're going to step. The idea is that you're turning what you will see be a reverse case-up. I've got my hips up in the air, I've got everything tight, and I come back and I do it on the other side. I'll do it this way so you can see it as well. Step, 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 step. All right? This is a plank with step back. Everybody give that a try. Make sure you're turning your whole body to the side. We're not turning over. We're not turning over. So keep that other hand and hip in the air. And if you got a partner, give them a high five as you turn. All right, mate. All right, very good. We're going to do one more of these drills, and I'll recap them again. All this is, of course, being recorded. And the beautiful thing about this, did you need a training partner or a dojo or a mat to do any of this? No. You just have to have the will to show up and actually do it, right? So don't let anybody tell you you can't train. You just have to want to do it, all right? So the next one we're going to do, you will need a little bit more space for this one. So remember how I said that move you, not the other person. If I've got a dude in front of me that's like 250 pounds, I'm probably not going to grab him and be able to pull him towards me. But I am going to be able to grab him and pull myself around him to where I can do an attack, okay? So, start sitting down. You're going to post out, all right, on your opposite hand and foot. I want you to grab underneath the arm. Think like you're grabbing, if you know pressure points like heart 2. And you're going to pull the arm as I push my hips forward. Okay? I'm utilizing my hips, and I'm moving myself into an advantageous position, especially if it's a big guy and I can't move him. And then we switch sides, and we pull, and we switch sides, and we pull. Really notice how you push through with your hips, and you pull. And now, I scoot back. And we do the same thing again. All right? Do it with me. Let's go. Pull, pull, pull. All right? Again, work in the space if you got. If you can do like 3 of these and you have to scoot back, great. If you can do 2 of them, scoot back, great. Work with what you got. I see families doing it on their living room floor. It's awesome. Now, actually, let me talk about this real quick because this is equally as important. You notice that I have one hand in front of me, the other hand is behind me. I'm creating a frame. Another thing really important, really in a lot of martial arts, is that you create a frame in your structure. Can I borrow you? Just have it right here. On your knees. If I am trying to control her and my hand is over here to the side, just push me back. Right? She's pushing me on my back and it's really hard to try to stop that. But if I have a good frame, push me back. Because she's got to push through my shoulders into the ground. So just having that difference between here and here makes the hugest difference. All right? So scoot back and do it again. All right? We'll do this for another 15 seconds or so. And this is our last drill. All right, Monte. All right, so let's just do a quick recap of what we did. Again, this is kind of just the warm-up section, but I wanted to give you some drills that you can play with later. So that first one we did was leg circles. Okay, warming up the hips, warming up the knees. Second one we did was your S-turn hip up. You got an S with your legs, turn, push forward, turn, push forward. Okay. Next one we did was your shin rock up with a shoot, okay? So I pull in, rock up to my shin, this forward knee comes down and I come forward, okay? Next one we did, it's a really fun one, is a plank with a step back. And you're gonna see where this is gonna come into play later. Now start in a plank position, step back, step back, step back. Somebody get the cardboard for me. Kids probably aren't gonna understand that reference. And the last one we did was an arm drag to scoot. Post your feet, pull. Post your feet, pull, and then scoot back. I'm going to give you guys a 30-second water break, and we're going to come back with our grappling dummies. Go for it. I'm in Georgia. It's hot. I'm having water. All right, I see some of you have your grappling dummy ready. So, I'm going to quote Sun Tzu, The Art of War. There is a particular line in that book that has always stood out to me for over the years. Even so much I had a friend of mine make a painting of it. And it says, being unconquerable lies with yourself. And I'm going to keep saying this because I hope that it will resonate with somebody, okay? I started at the beginning of this class saying that once the pandemic hit, some people were like, oh, I guess I can't train anymore, I can't go to the dojo. Well, that's your decision. My decision is that I'm going to be unconquerable and I'm going to train because I want to get better every day. No matter how many years I've been doing this, I want to improve my skill every single day. So find a way to do it. And you guys are doing that right now by joining this training camp. And thank you for joining my class. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Now, let's get going on our training dummy. Now, you don't have to have one of these fancy Amazon training dummies. You can have something just like a firm pillow or any sort of bag. Basically, just something that you can put your weight on. Earlier, I talked about 5 points that were crucially important. move you, not necessarily the other person, okay? Space equals escape, and we're going to talk about that here, where you have to stay connected with your partner. Position before submission. We're going to work very heavily on a couple positions, and we're really just going to repeat a lot of those positions, so it'll flow with you a bit naturally. And then good technique or good body mechanics is everything. If you don't have good body mechanics, then nothing else matters. And of course, like anything else, you just have to practice it. Okay? Now, I do apologize because I noticed that the chat is turned off. So if you're trying to chat me a question, I'm incredibly sorry. But what I'll do is I'll take a moment every few minutes, and if anybody has a question, just turn off your mute and you can jump on with a question. I guess we'll do that now. Does anybody have any questions before we keep going with our grappling dummies? Ma'am, I see somebody's raising their hand there. Just go ahead and unmute and let's see what your question is.
Is this class for everybody or just higher ranks?
It is for anybody that wants to join us.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so you are invited. Good question. Anybody else have any questions before we keep going? All right, I'll take that as no. And mind, I can't see everybody on the screen, so if you have a question, just feel free to unmute and ask whenever I say I have a question. All right, so with our grappling dummies, we're going to start most of these from a side mount position, okay? Now, I never want to sound judgmental, but I will say things that are kind of like a pet peeve in grappling. Sometimes you'll see people do side mount like this, and this is a sort of judo newaza way to do it. Now, one of the things about, specifically a little different from newaza versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we apply a lot of pressure when we're on top of somebody. I've had both sides of my ribs broken from pressure. Not from getting kicked to the ribs, from people applying enough pressure down, okay? When you're like this, sometimes we'll call this sort of like chalking, and I can't put pressure down. I can try, but there's just nothing because my knees are stopping it. So what we're going to do in this position is I'm going to come across really low with my arm, never come across high, and I'm going to bring my knee in, and I'm going to squeeze, okay? I've got one leg out so I can grab and push and pull into my training partner, okay? What I want you to focus on is not just, yeah, side mount, okay, I got it, but getting into side mount. If this is somebody who's been doing rolling consistently for even like 6 months, if you try to come to side mount like this, space equals escape. They're right out of it. You don't have a chance. So we come in low. I get my knee next to the hip, okay? I'll turn this a little this way. I get my knee next to the hip. I come across the belly. I'm going to squeeze the hip as I grab, and now I've got a good side mount position. Control, control, control. A lot of jiu-jitsu is about control. Again, if you go real big, he's out. You keep it tight, then you've eliminated that space, okay? So on your own, just for 30 seconds, I want you to be mindful of your here, coming in low, and squeezing with your elbow and your knee. Space equals escape. You give me that much space, I'm out. There's no way you're gonna hold me, okay? And when you're in tight, press your chest down and hold on to your whatever your pillow or your grappling dummy is, okay? Work that. Nice. Now one thing I'm seeing, I'm still seeing this arm come high. Jeff, can you lay down for a second?
Which way?
Just head that way. Stay here. All right. So my wife, she's 8 months pregnant, so obviously I'm not going to put any pressure on her. But if I come high like this, yeah, she is already out before I even had a chance. So when you're grappling, you're getting in this position, you have to come low to get into it. This, yeah, no bueno. She's out of it. She's putting me in funky positions that I don't want to be in. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. So, moving on from here. So you got your side mount. And we're going to do a very basic position that most everybody knows, which is case gatami. Oh, we forgot our queso.
Oh.
We were going to bring queso and do queso with quesa. Alright, so we slide in our side mount position. From here, all I do is just pick my hips up just a little bit so I can slide through. Now with your grappling dummy, I'm still keeping pressure on him. If I relax my weight on the floor, that means there's no weight on my dummy, okay? So when I'm here, I'm actually picking my weight up, I'm pulling, and I'm putting the pressure down on my grappling dummy. Now there's two different ways that you can do quesa from this position. I can hold on to the shoulders, or I can come around the head, okay? Now, this training dummy obviously doesn't move very well, but if you do come around the head, it's super important that you grab your leg. If you do not grab your leg and you have this, the person drops their arm, turns, and gets out of it, okay? if there is space here, space equals escape. I hope you said it at home, okay? So for our particular purposes, we're going to go from side mount, slide to Kesa, and we're going to grip the shoulders. And we're going to explain why in just a moment, okay? So practice it methodically. Come on in tight and low, get your knee in. Grab around those shoulders. Make sure, you're squeezing with that elbow. Now you're in a good side mount. And then you slide out to your Kesa Katami, okay? Take a moment and keep practicing that. Good. What's that?
Chris Perry has a mean case of.
Jennifer is my wife. She's saying Chris Perry has a mean Kesa. All right, mate, that looks pretty good. So even though we're just doing positions, there's so many small things that you have to be mindful of when you're doing position work. If you're just lackadaisical in your training about how you're doing it, even with a training dummy, when you do it to somebody in rolling, especially somebody who has rolling experience, it's not going to hold them for anything, right? So space equals escape, stay tight. Be mindful about staying tight, okay? Now, I'm going to show you, I know not everybody has arms on their dummies, but we're also going to use visualization. Where else do you use visualization? I don't know, like when you're running kata, right? So in these times where we may not always have training partners nearby, or your wife's 8 months pregnant and you can't roll with her, you have to practice usually visualization in everything that you're doing, okay? So I'm going to show you the submission for this part with my training dummy. I'm going to let her do it to me just so you see what we're working on, okay? So we're going to work from here, coming in tight. I'm going to slide to my Kesa. Now, part of it depends on what this person's arm is doing. If this person's arm's back here, I'm going to capture the arm, and I'm going to step over the head, and I'm going to arm bar. Now, that's a little harder to do on this guy because he's got stubby arms and a head that doesn't move. So I'm going to let my wife do it to me. All right. She comes in for a Kesa, or a side mount. She's going to switch to Kesa. From here, as you can see, my arm is further back, and I'm thinking my arm's safe, right? No. Now, doing this by itself, it's really uncomfortable, but it may not make me tap. So go ahead and lock it. Hurts a little bit, but I'm fine, okay? But what else has she got to do? Oh, she's going to step over my head, tap. And then she's got the arm bar. Now, what you don't see is when she steps over my head, she actually has two arm bars. This arm is trapped, and she's arm barring this one, okay? So can you do that one more time, please? So she's going to start in her side mount. She's going to come down nice and low, switch to her Kesa, okay? As you see, she has my arm secure. This arm, I'm thinking, it's safe. It's not. She's going to come back, get her hands together, and think like you're answering their phone. Can you just do this for a second? Just answer the phone. Everybody say hello. Answer your phone. All right?
Hello.
And now she's going to grab her hands together. She's going to lock this in, which is pretty uncomfortable. And now when she takes the leg over my head, there we go. That's what locks it all into place. Okay? So, if your training dummy doesn't have an arm, or if you don't have anybody to do it with, that's okay. I want you to just visualize. Same thing. Side mount, Kesa, grip that arm, step over the head, and there's your arm bar. And then wash and repeat. All right? Go for it, guys. We'll wrap it over here so you can watch us. But don't worry about doing it fast. Work it slow, controlled, tight. Space equals escape. Tight. Kesa. Answer the phone. Grip that arm. Step over the head. Boom. And arm bar. I see some of you doing it at home. Awesome. Some of you got training partners at home that you can do it on. That's great. Good. Side mount. Kesa. Take that arm. Grip. Step over the head. And control. Good. Going to give you guys another minute on this. Use visualization. Think about tightness. Think about control. All right, mate. Good. Okay. So we're going to continue starting from a side mount position for most of these to give you something to work up to. Okay. when you're doing grappling, what really determines what position you go to next? There's no solid answer for that. I mean, the closest real answer you can give is what's advantageous, right? I wouldn't go from a side mount position, get up, and then run around and be in somebody's, like open range guard. It just doesn't make sense. Sometimes I do. Here's another thing. I don't always go for submissions when I'm grappling. I see what's given to me. So if I'm on top of somebody like this next one we're going to do, if they stick their arm out, bam, I'll take an arm bar. Because some people, they just want to grab that arm, give it to me, give me that arm. But if it's somebody that's got any amount of strength, they're going to drop that arm down and you're going to have a hard time pulling it. So, martial arts, in my opinion, is a lot like chess. You elicit responses. You make somebody make a mistake. And when they start to move a certain way because you elicited that, then you take advantage of it. Okay? So, keep that in mind. So the next one we're going to do from here is going to start in your side mount. We're going to pop up to a knee on belly. I have to say knee on belly is probably one of my favorite positions to work from. But you have to work getting to it tightly. Okay? Now I'm going to turn my dummy around for this one. So we start coming in low. I come in low and I'm squeezing, okay? Squeeze my elbow to my knee to control that space. From here, and I'm only going to come up so I can show you. From here, I'm going to go shoulder and hip. So whatever your grappling dummy is, here's the head. Just imagine shoulder and hip. Because what I want to do is temporarily hold this person down, and then I'm going to pop up to a knee on belly. It's important when you're knee on belly that you're not way up here, okay? Sometimes we call that high riding. If you're high riding, it's very easy to fall off, okay? So I've got one foot out here for a base. I've got one knee on the belly. It's funny, we say knee on belly. A lot of the time it ends up being like knee on solar plexus or knee on sternum, okay? And then I'm here in a position. From here, I'm going to put my hands back on the shoulder and hip, and I'm going to drop back down to side mount. So I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, okay? Now you notice I came up so I could sort of teach it, but don't do this. Okay? I sort of exaggerated a little bit, but do you see how much space I gave the person on bottom? Space equals escape. Exactly, okay? So now take a minute and work that. Side mount, knee on belly. Side mount, knee on belly. Focus on staying tight. Focus on holding down that shoulder and hip before you move. Okay? Mate, everybody look up here for a moment. This is a common thing I see. I want everybody to watch this leg, okay? When I pop up the knee on belly, if I have this knee down, my weight is kind of split between the person and my knee, okay? Remember that we want pressure, we want compression, okay? I want this person to feel my weight. So from here, I base my knee out. Now I have control and I can start moving around. We'll talk about moving around in a bit. This is where I want to be, okay? And we're going to work a submission after this. So keep going. Remember to check that shoulder and hip, keeping everything nice and tight as you transition.
So Shihan, just to clarify that,
yes, sir.
Stabilizing leg isn't straight, it's slightly bent, it's helping to apply pressure into the knee.
Yes, very good question. I'm keeping this slightly bent so I can move. Remember, this person's still going to move, right? They're trying to get out. So from here, I can push and pull with this leg, and I can easily transition to other positions, which we're going to do in a few minutes. Good question. Thank you. Now, if you're feeling pretty good with that, now transition a little bit more. So you come down, you start your side mount. You go to Kesa. You come back to side mount. You pop up to knee on belly. You pop back down to side mount. You go back to Kesa. All right? So you become a little bit more fluid and comfortable with transitioning from position to position. I'm sure at some point, whether it be in sparring or groundwork, at some point everybody's like, well, which position do I go to next? And obviously, if you're thinking about it in the middle of a roll or a fight, it's not coming quick enough. So doing position drills like this get you comfortable with just going position, 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 position. It's when we hold on too tight to a position that really can set us back. It's almost like an analogy for life, right? You're holding on to something so tightly that you lose it. Well, it's the same thing here. I want to control the situation, but this guy may have a lot of skill and know how to maneuver out of it. So if he's already getting out of it, and I try to keep that position, I lose him. But if he's trying to get out of it and he's pretty good, boom. And I go to another position, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay? So now, let's go ahead and move on over here. We're going to go ahead and add on a submission for this. I'm going to let Jen show you on me as well. So we started in our side mount. We come up to our knee and a hip and we pop up. Now, if this person on bottom is doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're keeping, this guy can't keep his arms low, but you should be keeping your arms tight. Remember what I was saying about illicit response? Sometimes when you get that oomph of somebody pressing into your stomach, you naturally want to push your arms up. So what I do from here is I'm going to slide my foot up into their armpit, and I am sitting on their chest. Grab that arm, boom, and there's the arm bar. Okay? Now, this doesn't work if I just grab his arm and I try to yank it up. Okay? I've got to elicit a response. I've been in this type of position before where people reach up, they're like, oh, you're going to choke me? Awesome! Okay? And then we just take their arm. Why? Because they stretched out their arm for me. I didn't have to do it. I'm lazy. Let them do the work, okay? I'm going to let Jen show you what that looks like on me. So she's going to start in her side mount position, okay? She's going to pop up to a knee on belly. Oh, very good. Now, I want to show you something. Put this knee down. Oh, whew. She put this back knee down, all the weight is off of me. This is like no threat at all right now. Go ahead and do it how you're supposed to. Oh, there we go. All right, now she's got this knee up, and all her weight, and her baby Freya weight, is coming down on me now. Now, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I keep my hands in, I keep it on this knee, and I start working an escape. But some people, they start messing up, they start reaching out. She's going to slide that knee up. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. Go ahead. Here we go. And she works her technique. Side point. When you are getting submitted, don't wait until your arm breaks before you tap. Alright? I've been doing joint locks for a very long time. If you wait until it's like incredibly painful before you tap, trust me, you're only hurting yourself. So when you feel somebody's got like your arm locked out or they've applied the choke properly, tap, okay? Save yourself. Now, when you're rolling, you might try to hang in there a little bit more, but when you're repping techniques, as the training partner doing it, the tori, don't rip it off. And if you're the uke having it done to you, don't wait till your arm is ripped off before you tap, okay? We all want to train for a long time, so let's do it safely, all right? So now, you guys got a few minutes to work that. You got your side mount. Pop up to your knee on belly. Slide that knee up, grab that arm, and there's your arm bar. If you notice with this hand, I use it over here as a base as I bring my leg around the head, okay? Somebody inevitably is going to ask, can you sit back with this? Yeah, you could. There's nothing wrong with that. But as I'm sitting on top of the person, I have all 180 pounds of me pressing down on them, which makes it way worse, and then a whole lot more likely to tap. Okay? You got side mount to Kesa to step over armbar. Wow, it's like that armbar looks familiar with how we're stepping over. We've got side mount, knee on belly, slide up to armbar. Practice it. Remember, space equals escape, so stay tight. Think about squeezing your training partner as you're going through these techniques, because the second you start to loosen everything up, that's their opportunity to escape. Good, you guys are looking good. Does anybody have any questions while we're repping through this? If you do, I can't see everybody on the screen, just unmute and ask, please. Good. And remember, work at your own pace. If you're working, you need to stop and take a breath or a drink of water, that's absolutely fine. Let's everybody rep this for another minute, and then we'll take ourselves a little 30-second water break. Keep going. Think about going to Kesa. Think about going back to knee on belly. Start applying those submissions in between. And mate. Very good, guys. If you want to keep repping, keep repping. Okay, let's take a 30-second water break. Grab yourself some water, stretch out, cool down a little bit, and we'll keep going, okay? If anybody has any questions in that time frame, please ask. Do you have a question, Rex?
I have a question.
Yes, what is your question?
On the second one we were doing, after you come up, got your foot underneath their armpits, then are you taking both arms or one arm around their arms?
I mean, if I could get both, great. Most likely it's just going to be one arm in that one. So, good question. So from here, I pop up to my knee on belly. There is something that I will do to armbar this. We're not really working on that one today. So I'm most likely going to take the arm that's closer to me. From here, I slide up. And notice, do you see what I'm doing with my hip here? Does it look familiar at all to that drill that we did in the beginning? So when I'm here, I slide up. Now what's beautiful about this is it's a lot harder for this person to drop their arm down. Again, if we're here, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, they drop those arms down and keep them tight to their elbows. But if this person messes up, they reach up, boom. I have my the instep of my foot in their armpit. I'm sitting on their chest. It's incredibly difficult to try to drop this arm now, so I just take it. Now this isn't part of today, but what you're also going to find, I'm going to try this with a dummy, is that they'll have this arm tucked down and this arm up. Well, if this arm comes up, then I drop back and I do a different type of arm bar. I don't generally fight for a technique, especially if the person's got an amount of strength to them and it's just kind of an arm wrestling match. I will take what you give me. You stick this arm up, I'll take it. You stick this arm up, I'll take it. Does that help?
Yeah.
Great. All right, guys. So next we're going to work, and I'm trying to kind of piece these together for you so it's a little bit easier flow. We're going to start right back in our side mount position. So when you're thinking about side mount, you should think about pinching with your elbow and your knee. Okay? Do not chalk your knees. Do not have both knees in. If you do this, you cannot push weight down on your partner. With one knee out, now I can push down and I can squeeze. Okay? From here, I come to the shoulder and the hip, and I'm going to pop up to a knee on belly. And then from here, it's going to be a pretty easy transition. Take the leg over the top, and we're in top mount. Now, top mount is a good position, but quite honestly for me, I don't like attacking too much from top mount. It's not a bad position. There's just other positions I like more. But it's still an incredibly dominant position to be at. From here, we're going to teach you how to do what's called an S-mount armbar. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the technique before, where you go here, you take the arm, and you sit it back, okay? That is an absolutely fine technique. I don't practice that one because I find that it leaves a lot of space. And if you do as much ground rolling as like a BJJ person, again, you give that much space, you know, we're getting out of there. So, I'm going to show you an alternative to that will help you eliminate the most of that space. This is one of my favorite techniques to do, an S-mount armbar. So much that I actually had to stop doing it because I was doing it in every roll. So I had to say, okay, let me focus on something else for a while. So, when I go to this top mount, all my weight is on my training partner's hips from right here. He can still bump me from this position, so I need to get my hips up. Now, it's a long conversation on how to get from there to here while this person's arms are up. If they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, their elbows are down, okay? So for right now, we're just going to push an arm up, and we're going to slide one knee up by their head, okay? This person's elbow should now be in my hip, okay? If the arm is on the ground, you're going to have a little bit of problem doing this, okay? Now, from here, I'm going to take this leg, and I'm going to think it's like a windshield wiper, all right? I'm going to windshield wiper around, okay? And grab it and pull it in if you need to. From here, I have an S-mount, okay? This should look somewhat familiar with what we did in the beginning of the class, okay? We were working this S position. Well, we're doing the same thing here. I start on low. I'm going to come up high. One knee is touching the head. From here, I take my other leg and I do what I call a windshield wiper, okay? If you come up, what do I have right here? Space. Space equals escape. So don't allow that space. So from here, I bring my leg around and I'm squeezing. Now you got two arms to choose from, okay? So pay attention on this. The arm that's further away from me, I'm going to shoot through and just hold on to it. Now, you might have a shoulder lock here depending on the flexibility of the other person, but it's really this arm that I want. Okay? From here, I'm going to grab the arm, and I also don't try to grab the hand. It's not like an arm wrestling contest. It's usually like a hug. I'm going to hug the arm. From here, put my hand down, come across the head, boom, there's my arm bar. If you look, it's very similar to what we did here, right? You're in a knee on belly, you slide up, and you arm bar. Okay? We're just doing it a little differently. From here, I go to a top mount. I slide up. One knee is next to the head, my other knee comes around. The forearm, if your uke doesn't have arms, you can probably just not worry about it right now. But if your uke does have arms, or you're practicing it with someone, this one I'm going to swim through, and I'm just going to hold on to that arm. Now that arm's out of the way. Because you're going to have people that are going to have their hands together like, no, 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 I don't want to get arm bars. So instead of fighting two arms, I fight one arm, and then I fight the other arm. I lean, put my weight down, come around the head, boom, there's my arm bar. Now, can I drop back an arm bar from here? Yes, but it's much better when all my weight is on top of the other person. But if you feel comfortable with it, you can still drop back. This does leave a little degree of escape for the other person because my weight was going this way and now they can start rocking up and now we have a harder time doing it. I'm going to let Jen do this to me so you can see what it looks like. She's going to start at her side mount. She's going to pop up to knee on belly. She's going to go to top mount. Now, sometimes where the hard part is to get this arm up. If somebody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, their arm should be down. Okay, but for right now, I'm just going to let her push my arm up. She's going to bring one knee up to my head, and you're going to have to explain the rest.
Okay, and then I'm going to bring this shoulder up so I can windshield wiper this leg over. I'm going to keep everything really tight and the leg really close to the ground as I windshield wiper up and get my S-mount position. After that, I'm going to, because I have it uke with two arms, I am going to swim around and get this one out of the way. I'm going to hug this arm over here. I'm going to lean and post here as I bring my leg over, keeping my knees tight. If it were any harder, I would be able to arch my back, but it worked pretty early.
All right. So there we go. All right. So side mount to knee on belly to top mount, S mount arm bar. Okay. I know that had a lot of steps to it. I'm going to continue to work it slow. Work it at your own pace. Okay. I'll talk everybody through it. Side mount, hip and shoulder, up to knee on belly. From here, come over to top mount. I'm going to take one leg. For now, I'm going to take my left leg. I'm going to slide it up next to their head, like my knee is touching their head. This arm is going to slide around. Now I'm in this S-mount position. One arm swims through, takes the arm out of the equation. The other one is going to hug. From here, I'm going to post my hand down, bring my leg around, and this is where you would arch for your arm bar. Okay? If you're feeling pretty good with those, then you can play with going from position to position to position. You've got side mount to Kesa to arm bar. You've got side mount to knee on belly to arm bar. And of course now, side mount to knee on belly to top mount, slide up, and arm bar. Take a minute and work them. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. We've got just about 10 more minutes in this class to play. Good. I see some of you got training partners at home. I'll keep going through this if you need help with that S mount. So come on into very tight side mount, hip and shoulder up to a knee on belly, slide on over to a top mount, slide up with my head beside the knee, circle this leg around. So now you see what I've got is an S mount. Take the arm through, hug the arm. If this part is confusing you about swimming through the arm, just don't worry about it for right now. Because this is the main arm that we want. I'm going to lean over, and there's my arm bar. Side mount. Pop up, knee on belly. Pop on over, top mount. Slide up to an S mount. Slide the leg around. Swim through to get one arm out of the way. Hug the arm. Come on over. Boom. And there's your arm bar. All right, mate. I'm going to give you guys a 30-second water break. We're going to do one more of these. Now this last one might be a little much for everybody, but we're going to see where we can go with it. All right, quick water break. Huh? Knee on belly, step over.
Oh.
Okay, so quick recap of where we are. I try to have everything from the same starting position because it really gives you a point of reference to keep working with, okay? So I've got my knee in tight, come on down, got my side mount. I kick my leg through for my case gatami. Now, it's hard to see on the camera right now, but right now I'm keeping my weight on my grappling dummy. If I just set my butt on the ground, all my weight's on the ground. I don't want it on the ground. I want it on this guy. So I pick my hips up. From here, I can work step across armbar. Okay. From here, I keep that pressure in on my grappling dummy. I come right back to side mount. I go up to shoulder and hip, pop up to a knee on belly. From here, I can slide up high, pushing my hips through, grip, grip, and there's my arm bar, okay? Or I can go to top mount. Slide up, windshield wiper, and take the other arm, okay? So, this next one, it might be a little much for people. Get what you can, right? Sometimes we use like the fire hose analogy during seminars where it's like, I'm gonna spray like, I'm gonna, what do you call it? A fire hose at you in your mouth. Some of the water's gonna get in, some of it's gonna get out, right? But retain what you can, okay? And if this is too much, then just stick with the first ones, okay? So this is a fun step over drill that I really like to play with, and it's really confusing if you're the person on the bottom, because as they're trying to get out, they've just got legs flying everywhere, okay? So, congratulations, you get to learn one of my favorite drills. So we're gonna come in tight, start in your side mount position again. From here, shoulder, hip, pop up to a knee on belly. Well, let's say this person's trying to roll or they're trying to bump me, and I say, nope, too bad. So now I just went to a knee on belly on the other side. From here, I'm gonna press on the opposite shoulder and hip, and I'm gonna switch to a reverse kesa, okay? There are advantageous reasons you would twist. Now what we're gonna do is a big step back, so follow along. From here, big step back. Oh my gosh, where am I? I'm back in my S mount, okay? From here, you can continue to work that arm bar, or from here, we're not gonna do a submission just yet. This person tries to bump, I just roll them down, and I'm right back in my side mount again. Side mount, pop up to a knee on belly. They're trying to bump me, boom. And then I go on knee on belly on the other side, okay? From here, I'm going to, I told you wrong earlier, I'm not going to this shoulder and hip. I'm actually going to this leg and this shoulder as I change to a reverse kesa. From here, I'm going to take my far leg, a big step back, and I go right back to my S mount again, okay? Again, where you can work that arm bar. From here, the person's trying to bump and roll. Instead of me falling backwards, and this is the great thing about having something kind of firm, is I just roll on top of them. I've kept my weight on them the entire time, and I come right back in, okay? Pop back up, knee on belly. Switch it. And when I switch sides, I'll usually go to the shoulders. On the shoulders, do a knee on belly on the other side. Check the leg and the shoulder. Reverse kesa. Step back. S mount. Now I'm going to show you another submission that you can do from here. So of course you've got your arm bar that you can work. But let's say this guy is bumping. As he bumps me, boom. I just went to, we've got an arm triangle, we've got a cow catcher, we've got a couple different variations of chokes. that we can work from right here, okay? It's a little harder with this dummy because he's got stubby arms, but you're usually, when you're doing this on somebody, you're giving them a lot of pressure, and they start moving, and all I need is for that arm to extend. Once that arm extends on the way down, boom, then I come in. And this is actually what I meant to get the first time. So if I come underneath with this arm on the top, this is more like an arm triangle. But what I want is this arm pressing down, my weight on top. This is more like a cow catcher. So this arm is choking them, and their arm is choking them. And it's a very beautiful spot to finish this, okay? Lock it in, pull, and work your choke. And then we can go right back to starting again. Side mount, pop up, knee on belly. On the shoulders, pop, knee on belly to the other side. Control the leg and the shoulder, reverse K-side. Big step back. Oh, but I got something a little different here. Now notice that this arm is out here, it's behind me, and now I've just got one. So I could come through, I can start working shoulders here. I could actually start transitioning to a triangle position from this now because I have one arm in and one arm out. Remember what I said earlier, I don't always necessarily go for submissions-ish. I see what I get, what the other person gives me. If both arms are up, it gives me a series of one techniques. If one arm is out, it gives me a series of other techniques. And then from this position, I roll off, boom, and I go for my cow catcher choke. And we're right back to it again, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a few moments to work. Let's look at everything we've done, okay? Coming in down, tight to a side mount. Going out to a K-side, arm bar. From a side mount, pop back up to a knee on belly, slide that hip up, grab an arm bar. Or step over the top, slide up, S-mount. Take one arm out, arm bar the other, okay? Or one of my favorite drills, from a side mount, pop up to knee on belly on the other side, reverse knee on belly, step back to an S-mount, slide off, catch a cow catcher. All right? I'm going to continue to work that last one nice and slow. You guys continue to work on your own. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask. While you're working, let me go back to the 4 points I brought up in the beginning. Move you, not the other person. I have barely moved my training partner this whole time, except for repositioning, okay? So I'm moving around him to do the work. Space equals escape. When you're in these positions, keep everything nice and tight. Even though it's just a training dummy, you will do what you practice. So tightness is important. Position before submission. As you see, we've been very position oriented today. And it's super important because if you just try to go for an arm bar, it's not going to work on somebody that has any amount of experience. You have to know how to control through positions. And as always, good techniques, good body mechanics is everything. If your body mechanics aren't there, it's not going to work. All right, let's keep repping. If you have a question, just unmute and ask.
Hey, Shihan.
Yes, sir.
When you're in the last drill, you're sliding off from the S mount into something. Did you call that a cow catcher, or are you just?
Yes, sir. That's a cow catcher. So from here, I've got my S mount. Now this is really good because they have a little bit of space here. Daniel has gotten really good at getting him out of my S mount just because I've put him in S mount probably hundreds of times now. So when he starts to bump me this way, instead of fighting it, I just slide off and I catch that arm. Okay? Did you catch that?
I see, thank you.
Yes, sir. Good question. I know it's sometimes a little hard to see what exactly is going on with all the detail. Side mount. Knee on belly. Knee on belly on the other side. Check the shoulder and the leg. Reverse knee on belly. Which, by the way, why would I ever do a reverse knee on belly? Why would I have somebody here, have everything, and turn this way? Does anybody have an answer for that? Why I would do that? The legs are still a beautiful thing to attack. I can still go for knee bars, toe holds, and ankle locks, right? If I'm going here, nothing's working, or a foot starts to come up, bam, I can come here and start attacking a leg as well. So maybe this guy thinks, oh no, he's going to attack my leg. Nope, just kidding. I'm coming right back up here and I'm going to attack up here again. Whoa, Oh, we are out of time. I'm very sorry. I almost went over here. I would have gotten in trouble. Guys, thank you so much for attending this class. If you have any questions, I'm on Facebook. I posted some stuff earlier today on the camp page. Thank you for joining. And I'll see some of you guys in the other class. Now, one last thing. The best way you're going to get better at rolling is rolling. Go train, guys. Os.